Mesdames et messieurs, je déclare ouverte la cérémonie de clôture. Je vais faire le discours donc de clôture. Je le ferai en langue arabe. Donc, si vous permettez, vous pourrez prendre vos écouteurs pour pouvoir avoir la traduction de manière simultanée. I will talk in Arabic, then please if you can take the translation. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سيد رئيس مجموعة البنك الإفريقي للتنمية، سيد المستشار، حضرات السيدات والسادة المحافظين، حضرات السيدات والسادة، ها نحن قد وصلنا إلى نهاية اجتماعاتنا السنوية لسنة 2013، وإنني سعيد بهذه المناسبة أن أسجل معكم بارتياح النجاح الكبير الذي حققه هذا الحدث الهام. لقد انصب العمل خلال هذه الاجتماعات على عرض ومناقشة وتقييم المنجزات التي حققتها المؤسسة خلال السنة الماضية لسنة 2012، كما قمنا برسم التوجهات وبلورة الآليات الكفيلة بمساعدتنا على تعبئة الموارد المالية اللازمة لتحقيق التحول الهيكلي الذي نبتغيه لقارتنا واقتصاديات بلداننا في خدمة شعوبنا الإفريقية وما تتطلع إليه من حياة كريمة وفرص للشغل وللارتقاء الاجتماعي. وحرصنا خلال هذه الاجتماعات كذلك على اعتماد خارطة الطريق للعودة التدريجية للبنك إلى مقره بأبيجان، كما باشرنا انتخاب أعضاء مجلس إدارة البنك الإفريقي للتنمية واختيار أعضاء مجلس إدارة الصندوق الإفريقي للتنمية. وفضلا عن ذلك فقد انعقدت على هامش الاجتماعات السنوية عشرات الاجتماعات وندوات تم خلالها تدارس قضايا وإشكاليات تكتسي أهمية قصوى بالنسبة لقارتنا. ولا شك أن النتائج التي خلصت إليها هذه اللقاءات من نتائج وتوصيات ستؤخذ بعين الاعتبار من قبل مجموعة البنك الإفريقي للتنمية في وضع الآليات ووسائل العمل الرامية إلى تحقيق الأهداف التي سطرتها المؤسسة فيما يتعلق بالتحول الهيكلي لاقتصادياتنا الإفريقية، وكذا مواكبة إفريقيا في مجهوداتها من أجل التنمية المستدامة والشاملة. وكانت فرصة كذلك لكي نناقش التصور الذي أعده البنك الإفريقي للتنمية بالنسبة للصندوق ال50 لتمويل التجهيزات التحتية، والذي قد يلعب دور أساسي في تحقيق الاندماج الاقتصادي في قارتنا الإفريقية والعمل على تسريع وتيرة نمو اقتصادياتنا. ولا يفوتني بهذه المناسبة التأكيد أن نجاح اجتماعاتنا هو ثمرة كذلك للعمل التحضيري الدقيق الذي امتد طيلة الشهور الماضية من قبل مصالح البنك الإفريقي للتنمية والسلطات المغربية المختصة. وأود بهذه المناسبة أن أوجه تنويها خاصا إلى إدارة المؤسسة تحت إشراف رئيسها معالي السيد دونالد كابيروكا، وكذا الكاتبة العامة والمجلس إدارة البنك وسائر المسؤولين والعاملين الذين ساهموا من قريب أو بعيد في الإعداد الجيد لهذه الاجتماعات. وأعتبر أن نجاح هذا الحدث هو نجاح لهم يستحقون عليه كل تهنئة وكل تنويه. وبقي قبل أن أختم هذه الكلمة أن أرجو عودة سالمة ميمونة لكل الذين سيغادرون فور انتهاء هذه الاجتماعات، وأتمنى مقاما طيبا للذين قرروا البقاء معنا لأيام أخرى. وأخيرا أود أن أتقدم بالتهنئة لرئيس الجديد لمحافظي مجموعة البنك الإفريقي للتنمية معالي السيد كالافير كاتيتاتي وزير المالية والتخطيط الاقتصادي برواندا متمنيا له كامل النجاح في مهامه، وأقول لكم جميعا إلى اللقاء بكم سنة في كيغالي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Nous allons commencer par adopter le compte-rendu des assemblées annuelles qui sera suivi de la lecture du communiqué final. Comme vous le savez, ce compte-rendu vous a été distribué. Honorable gouverneur, pour des raisons d'efficacité, je propose donc que nous adoptions ce document par acclamation. Tout commentaire y afférent pourra être adressé au bureau de la vice-présidente secrétaire générale. Je vous invite donc à adopter le document. Donc, permettez-moi d'inviter le gouverneur de Guinée à lire le communiqué final des assemblées annuelles de l'année 2013 à Marrakech. Monsieur le gouverneur de Guinée. As you like.
Communiqué of the 2013 annual meetings, African Development Bank Group. We, the governors representing member countries of the African Development Bank Group, met from the 27th to 31st May 2013 in Marrakech, Morocco, under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Nizar Baraka, Minister for Economy and Finance of the Kingdom of Morocco and Chairperson of the Board of Governors. He was supported by other members of the Bureau of the Board of Governors. The deliberations took place in the presence of Mr. Donald Kaburuka, President of the African Development Bank Group. The theme for the meeting was Africa's structural transformation. We were honored by the presence of His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, and His Excellency Ali Bongo Odimba, President of Gabon. We agreed that the need for Africa's structural transformation is urgent and requires our long-term commitment. This is critical to develop timely solutions to the challenges of job creation, the equitable allocation of the benefit of growth and the continent's natural resources, as well as effectively harnessing the demographic dividend of Africa's young population. The bank financial and operation performance continues to be commendable under the leadership of President Kaburuka, with the collaboration of the Board of Directors and dedication of the bank management and staff. We commend the bank group work in all African countries, fragile, low, and middle-income countries, and call on the bank to intensify its effort and partnership to assist Africa's fragile states and situations and mobilize resources to address their specific challenges. We welcome the bank's financial and other resources commitment in support of Somalia and Mali. We welcome the bank's new 10-year strategy for 2013 to 2022 and its twin objective of inclusive growth and the transition toward green growth. We support the continued focus on the 5 core operational areas of infrastructure, regional economic integration, private sector development, governance and accountability, skill and technology, and the 3 cross-cutting areas of fragile state, gender, and agriculture and food security. We stress the importance of gender equality as a cornerstone of inclusive growth. We call upon the bank to implement the strategy fully across country, regional, and sector operation in budgeting and programming. We resolve to adopt as well as implement inclusive and transformational natural resource management policies and initiatives to bring the full benefits of Africa's natural resource to its people. And we look forward to receiving the Bank Group capacity building and assistance in this regard. We renew our commitment to the structural transformation of our economies and resolve to intensify and support effort to mobilize domestic resources for development. We commend Africa's external development partners and friends and pledge to continue our partnership. Inadequate infrastructure continues to be a serious constraint to Africa's development and require urgent national and regional solutions. We welcome the proposed Africa 50 Fund in response to the request of our head of government to develop innovative financing solutions to address Africa's infrastructure deficit. The fund can facilitate, accelerate investment in transformational infrastructure projects. We urge the bank to continue the process leading to the establishment of the fund without delay. We concur that this is a big idea whose time has come, and that the Africa 50 Fund will accelerate, among others, the implementation of NIFAD infrastructure agenda. We recognize the achievement of the Africa Development Fund and especially its work in supporting fragile states. We call upon donors to increase their support to the fund and encourage more African countries to support it, following the example of Botswana, Egypt, Libya, and South Africa. We have elected the new executive directors for the board of directors of the bank and selected new executive directors for the board of directors of the bank, of the fund. We have approved the roadmap for the bank's return to its headquarters in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, and thank the government and the people of Tunisia for hosting the bank since 2003. We commend the government and the people of Côte d'Ivoire for their commitment to welcome back the bank. We look forward to celebrating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of African Development Bank in November 2014 at its headquarters in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. We express our appreciation to the King of Morocco, His Majesty King Mohammed VI, the government and the people of Morocco, and the city of Marrakesh, which has hosted this meeting. We look forward to the 2014 annual meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. Thank you.
Honorables gouverneurs et chers collègues, je tenais à remercier Monsieur le gouverneur de la Guinée pour ce compte-rendu complet. Et je voudrais vous dire que nous arrivons au terme des assemblées annuelles. Et avant de donner la parole à Monsieur le Président de la Banque pour son discours de clôture, je voudrais rappeler que mon mandat en tant que président des conseils des gouverneurs ainsi que le mandat du bureau arrivent à leur terme. Et je tenais donc à vous remercier pour votre travail et votre soutien pendant toute la durée de ce mandat. Et je tiens également à féliciter Monsieur le gouverneur du Rwanda pour la présidence du Conseil des gouverneurs de 2013 jusqu'à mai 2014. Et je donne la parole à Monsieur le Président donc, de la Banque africaine de développement. À vous la parole, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Chairman, dear governors, this assembly in Marrakesh has again confirmed the strong convening power of the African Development Bank. Beyond our statutory meetings, I believe the discussions in the governors' dialogue on transformation and the numerous side events, seminars, have significantly strengthened our understanding of how best the bank can implement its new long-term strategy. I would like to thank everyone who contributed in one way or another to this outcome. Governors, business leaders, civil society, and of course, our board of directors, bank management, and staff. I want in particular to thank you, Mr. Chairman, Minister Nizar Baraka, for the manner in which you have conducted these meetings, enabling us to find a meeting of minds even on delicate issues. In the same spirit, I wish to acknowledge your outgoing bureau. I extend my warm congratulations to the newly elected board of directors and assure them in advance of management's full support and cooperation. I take the opportunity to thank the outgoing board of directors, whose members will be leaving us shortly. I thank you for your partnership and friendship. I would like also to express my appreciation and that of senior management and staff for your expression of support for the bank's accomplishments in the past year and to date. Your renewed confidence in the bank, and to me personally, goes a long way in encouraging us to deepen our action. In turn, I would like to restate here our determination to continue to shepherd the bank to ensure sound finances and well-crafted, customized, tailored support to the needs of each member country. You are called to focus even further on the fragile states and situations of fragility, especially in the regional contexts, such as the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, the Mano River, is one which we entirely share. Many of you have asked the bank to continue giving adequate attention to countries in North Africa in transition. I want to assure you of our strong dialogue and engagement in that context. I'm also encouraged by your concurrence that given the challenges in the global financial markets, our prudent management is the right response. In our bilateral discussions, I've taken a special note of 4 things. First of all, that our 10-year strategy goes in the right direction. It articulates a direction of travel which corresponds to what Africa needs and what the bank is best positioned to do. However, you have emphasized to me that sound implementation will be the key. I would like to assure you, therefore, that senior management and I fully understand that any strategy is as good as the people who put in practice and the systems that deliver it. I undertake here to carry out all the steps necessary to ensure that every member of staff has full ownership of this new strategy. Management will have to lead by example, and I will be enforcing accountability at all levels in the implementation of this strategy. But above all, that this strategy of inclusive development will be tested and judged where it matters most within the countries on the ground. I therefore look forward to a reinforced dialogue with you in countries leveraging our expanded presence throughout the field offices. The second theme. This summit acknowledges the progress Africa has made, while pointing out what has to be done to ensure sustainability. One of the areas of focus is sound natural resource management. I understand that you are urging the bank to deepen its work in this area, to scale up and strengthen its internal capabilities to provide you with greater support in natural resource management. The debates here on transformation and natural resources have shown a wide consensus on what has to be done and what the bank has to do. As the celebrated economist Michael Porter has said, natural resources are an inherited wealth. The secret of sound natural resource management is converting those inherited wealth into created wealth. We know what to do. With the vast amounts being found and exploited in almost every corner, Africa has a chance in a generation to turn the inherited wealth into created wealth by sound investments in people and human capital. The bank will work with you on these matters. The third area of emphasis from our discussions, the question of the gap in infrastructure financing and the need for innovation. There was a consensus here that with Africa's economies at a turning point, the infrastructure deficit is an important binding constraint. It is not the only constraint, but it is a key obstacle. Drawing the experience from other countries, we all agree that unless African countries can unblock this particular obstacle, at some point, the current growth momentum would be interrupted and will not be sustained. At the same time, we all concluded that the existing means of financing infrastructure cannot take Africa to the scale that is required. It is time for innovation. It is time for greater mobilization of internal resources. The idea that African countries must do more for themselves, for their own development, in particular infrastructure, is an idea welcomed by all. It is time for better husbandry of natural resources to finance more infrastructure. It is time to leverage external support from our friends and partners, internal savings, and the capital markets for infrastructure. For that reason, we are extremely encouraged by the overwhelming warm response to the proposal for a special vehicle for scaling up infrastructure finance. That is the Africa 50 Fund. I deeply appreciate your initial contribution and thoughts on how we can further improve on the structure of this vehicle. We will, as requested, provide greater details and deepen the work on the Africa 50 Fund, together with our Board of Directors. We understand perfectly that this type of financial engineering in project finance is always very complex, but is the right direction. We will work on this with all the energy, innovation, and urgency that the matter deserves. The fourth point, the ADF 13 replenishment. The summit has reaffirmed the importance of the work done by the African Development Fund and the partnership around it. Its track record is stellar. The results on the ground speak for themselves. The fund's work, in particular in fragile states, is very critical. We're entirely cognizant of the budgetary squeeze in many donor countries. However, as we approach 2015, we have all agreed that from a strategic viewpoint, our aim must be a stronger ADF, or at the very least, to avoid at all costs to weaken the ADF. As the negotiations for the fund resume in 2 weeks, the arrival of new members, in particular African contributors, is a strong signal of ownership and the growing relevance of the fund as a force for good. I look forward to our forthcoming meeting in mid-June. The final takeaway, the return of the bank to Abidjan. With the ratification of the GCC recommendation on the roadmap, the task of safely returning the bank to its headquarters will now begin in earnest. In my bilaterals with you, 4 key considerations have been consistent in this matter. First, you have urged for a rigorous respect of the roadmap and its triggers. And second, you have urged me to ensure that at all costs, that the exercise should not perturb the operations of the bank or diminish its effectiveness. Third, that good communication, both internally and externally, was critical. And fourth, that a close collaboration between the bank and the two governments, the government of the host country, Côte d'Ivoire, and the country of the ATL, Tunisia, are important. I want to give here my assurance that the board and I, through the existing competent committees, such as CAR, Committee on Administrative Issues and Human Resources, and the Audit and Finance Committee, will ensure the bank respects those 4 elements scrupulously. Rest assured, we do fully understand how complex and delicate the exercise is. There will neither be undue precipitation nor unnecessary delays, which would cause cost overrun to this process. We have every confidence that the resilience and the experience of this institution, which it has demonstrated over years, will serve us during this transition very well. As you prepare to depart Marrakesh, let me again thank each one of you governors, the people of this historic and beautiful city, the government and people of the Kingdom of Morocco, and all of you who made this assembly's work smooth and successful. Let me wish you a safe return to your respective countries and to give you rendezvous in Kigali, Rwanda in May 2014. I thank you very much for your attention.
Je remercie le président du groupe de la banque et invite les membres du nouveau bureau et monsieur le président du bureau, donc le gouverneur du Rwanda, le gouverneur de la Suisse et le gouverneur de la Libye de bien vouloir enfin de se joindre à nous qui vont en fait assumer cette fonction de la fin des Assemblées nationales 2013 à la fin des Assemblées annuelles 2014. Et nous leur demandons de nous rejoindre sur le podium. Merci. Oui. Avant de donner la parole au nouveau président, je voudrais dire à notre honorable assistance que nous allons transmettre au nom du président et en votre nom une lettre de remerciement à Sa Majesté le roi Mohamed VI, roi du Maroc, pour le remercier d'avoir accordé le haut patronage à cet événement, d'avoir bien voulu en fait adresser un message royal à nos assemblées et de nous avoir permis la réussite de ces assemblées. Donc, sans plus tarder, nous allons voir un film institutionnel sur les assemblées qui se sont déroulées à Marrakech. Donc, c'est une synthèse qui va nous être présentée tout de suite. Merci.
My expectations are very high, but I'm very confident. I think the presence of so many leaders here is testimony to the fact that this annual meeting has a very strong convening power. What will it take to ensure sustainability and the quality of the growth?
The spontaneous way of urbanization is the slum.
Il faut qu'on change, il faut qu'on revoie notre vision, notre manière d'être.
And she talked about some of the innovation that happened in Kenya being applied in other parts of the world.
As you know, the annual meetings of the African Development Bank is a convening place for the very best of you in the world of finance, civil society, private sector. The best of Africa is here.
First of all, leadership by example is the most important thing.
Transformational leadership or creative leadership to administrative leadership.
What is the impact of this net resource transfers abroad?
Bienvenue au grand rendez-vous annuel de la Banque africaine de développement. La question que tout le monde se pose ici aujourd'hui, c'est comment se porte la BAD.
La banque bénéficie d'une excellente solidité financière.
And what we would like, as much as possible,
the development of cities is really at the center of the agenda.
Africans working together, this integration we are talking about, we already have reports and files on the shelf.
Félicitations.
C'est avec un immense plaisir que je voudrais vous souhaiter la bienvenue à la 48e Assemblée annuelle du Conseil de Gouverneurs de la Banque africaine de développement.
Il me semble nécessaire, à l'entame de mon intervention, d'indiquer la destination future de notre continent, à savoir son émergence.
This is an exciting time in Africa.
We invite you to come to invest in Africa, but not at all cost. You come, you have to respect us, you have to respect our culture.
it's not because it's not in our culture in Africa that we should renounce.
Africa is a place criminals, whether narcotic traders or arms dealers or others, can grow and make it a playground. We must refuse this as Africa.
We created a banking system which doesn't need collateral. We are a trust-based banking.
Why Africa now?
Africa is the future of the world because this is an unexplored country and people have the tremendous creative power and also the resources are here.
Donald, I have to say, we are proud of you. What you are doing is fantastic.
Mr. President of the African Development Bank, the outgoing Governor, Chairman of the Board of Governors, senior management of the Africa Development Bank, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I was looking at everybody, looking at me, thinking that I'm going to make another speech, but I'm not. I think the last big speech has just been made. And coming from the world of diplomacy, I always remember a diplomat who made a speech for 3 hours. And after 1 hour, you can imagine half of the audience was gone. By the time he finished, only one person was left. And when he turned around and I said, "Why are you still here? Why are you still here?" And he said, "Because I'm the last speaker." But this time, it's not another speech. It's just a thank you note. I want to start by really thanking the Kingdom of Morocco, His Majesty the King, and the warm hospitality of the people of Morocco. The excellent arrangements that have been put in place to facilitate us has been well appreciated almost by everybody. I also want to thank the Africa Development Bank for the conduct of the meetings that have been taking place here, for the arrangements, for all the facilities that have made us very, very comfortable, and for the outgoing chairman of the Board of Governors. He has done a wonderful job. I've always been watching how he juggled between managing the meetings, taking care of the social events, including the food and the dancing, and also taking care of everybody here as the host. It has not been easy, but he did it to perfection. So thank you very, very much. And if I can just say one word, just to really thank the Africa Development Bank. For most of us who have been there for quite some time, this is a bank that has come a long way. It is now focusing on the areas that matter most to African countries. Here we are emphasizing infrastructure, we are emphasizing human capital, skills, education, we are emphasizing health, we are emphasizing agriculture, and we are emphasizing structural transformation. These are the key areas that we need. Looking at the bank today, there is no doubt that we can call it our own bank. We own it, and you can see it is a truly African bank. So we thank you very much for the African Development Bank for the work that's well done. I also thank you for the confidence and endorsement of Rwanda to host the next meeting of the African Development Bank, the 49th meeting of the African Development Bank, and for the 40th annual meeting of the Africa Development Fund. We hope we won't disappoint you. We've been watching clearly, and we want to make sure that we match the kind of excellent work that has been done here in Morocco. In Rwanda, you'll find basically a welcoming country. We believe that for those of you who are coming from Africa, you don't need a visa, as you are told. And in Rwanda, you can bring anything except plastic bags as you come to Rwanda. As my first job today, you can imagine when you started your first job, I want to start by closing officially this wonderful joint annual meeting of the Africa Development Bank and Africa Development Fund. And I welcome all of you to Kigali next year in May. Thank you very much.
We're going to ask the members of the outgoing bureau and members of the incoming bureau with Mr. President to come and take a family photo. And right after, there will be a press conference of the President. Thank you.